Okay. Looks like we are live here. Let me check and see what it looks like. Yeah, nice. Okay. Painting some Curse of Strahd miniatures here. So, let's see what to start with here. Looks like maybe just a little bit of the there we go. Okay. So I'm using these scale 75 paints for this today. I'm going to start with something called Greenskin Flesh. So here we go. These are brand new paints. I have not opened them yet. So I'm going to go ahead and shake. Shaky, shaky. Eggs and bakey. It's going to take me a little bit to shake them up. Here are the snake miniatures. At least this is one of them. And yeah, I did kind of a bad job on priming these. I'm going to be honest, but we'll see how they come out. Yeah, this is wow. I really could use some little balls, some little metal balls in here to help me shake this paint up. It is reducing my BMI. Taking a lot of work. So we'll just keep on shaking. And I'm just going to see how this goes. So, in the meantime, let's take another look at the picture here. And yeah, I'm going to get one shade of green light or two maybe here if I can. Homebound flesh, that looks promising. Okay. So, yeah. Well, we're just going to see here. See how it goes, Nothing ventured, nothing gained. And so my technique is to do like a zenithal prime, meaning a very light primer, starting from black and then working my way up to kind of simulate the way that the light would hit on the mini. And so to do that, I use very light coats of paint. Now with the scale 75, I'm still kind of getting used to it here. It's a new paint that I'm just kind of getting used to. I'm going to grab my D&D base coat brush here. My official Dungeons and Dragons brush for base coating. If I can find it, I believe it's here somewhere in the pile. Well, this is the starter brush, but you know what? Oh, there it is. Okay, sorry. Here it is. Put this over to the side to use it later. Okay. Yeah. So, let's see here. I am going to just try to kind of put down a light base coat here. I'm going to start with one of my not so favorite snakes, I guess. Snake. Dun, 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 dun. So this is quite a green. Maybe a little more green than I was actually intending, but that's okay. And we're just going to lightly base coat it here with this scale 75. This is called green skin flesh, I believe. Just base coating away here, very light coats. Trying not to completely obscure that primer base coat underneath. And yeah. Okay, so yeah, that's kind of how it's coming along here. And I just kind of want to try this Hellbound Flesh just to see what we're looking at here. If this is gonna, I think this is gonna work nice, but I kind of want to do a little bit of a wet blend on the top, so we'll see here how it works. This green though, I'm thinking it might be just a little, yeah, it's just a little green, honestly. So I might switch it up. I'm gonna try this other one and we'll see how it works. This is called Misfits Green. Okay. And this might be a little closer. Yeah. Yeah, okay. But we'll see here. Okay, so I do want a little of this Hellbound Flesh on the palette. And okay, I'm going to put that, I don't want old space to work, so I'm going to put that right here. And then I'm going to put the this Rhea gray. It looks like it's got a little green in it. I'm going to put this down as well. This is going to be kind of the, yeah. Well, I'm going to hold off on that. I'm just going to do this Misfits green for right now. And that Rhea gray I'm going to use to do some of maybe the detail work, I think. We'll see here. I'm still kind of working it out as I go along. But I do need some kind of a dark green. Might see how this Despair green works for that. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to put down a little bit of this Misfits green. There we go. Okay, so now, excuse me. Just kind of looking at this here. And I'm going to try, yeah. Let's put this Misfits green down. Thinking that might be a little more in line with what I'm kind of going for here. Yeah, I think so. Actually, I'm really not kind of hating the combination of the two so far. might actually be able to live with both of these. Kind of working them together, wet blending maybe a little bit. Yeah. Okay, now I'm going to get out my handy tool here. This is just a paint can, a shaker, paint shaker lid with a little sticky tack on it. And I'm going to put that right down. And yeah. Go back here to this kind of a dark green. Continue my work. Just working my way around. It's not bad. Like I said, I think I can live with kind of the blend of these two greens together. And this zenithal highlighting is kind of telling me a little bit about where I need to start to think about switching up my my colors just a little bit. But so far, so good. Okay. Oops, a little water in here. Wash my brush out, and then I'm going to grab a bit more of this. Okay. Yeah, that's actually working out pretty good here. I'm going to switch over just to watch the stream if I can here. Just using kind of a zenithal highlight as you paint these can really help to save you some time of figuring out where the highlights are supposed to be, because that's for me one of the hardest parts sometimes, is just gonna figure out where the light's hitting. And I use an airbrush to put the highlights on, and then just kind of keep that as my area of reference for adding the lighter colors based on where the light hits. Excuse me. Again, when you're doing a zenithal highlighting, you're using zenithal highlighting, you're using a very dark base coat first, so you might use like a black to prime, and then you switch over to a gray, and you start to kind of simulate the particles of light hitting the surface of whatever it is that you're painting. In this case, the snake. So so yeah, where it's sort of like the light's hitting the surface of the snake is where I'm gonna, or his scales is where I'm gonna put my lighter colors. And I think last but not least, I'm gonna try a little blend here of this gray and this green together, and we'll see. It's a little creamy. But what are you going to do? Just kind of go back and forth here. First one, then the other. Okay, so for his belly area, I'm kind of thinking I need to maybe use a different color, but we'll see here. I'm just going to keep working my way around for the moment. A little bit more of this dark green. This Misfits green along kind of the shadowed areas. Oops, I'm getting off camera here. Again, so these shadowed areas are kind of going to be under here. And I'm just going by, excuse me, the highlights that I did with the primer. So yeah. And I might start to kind of bring this screen up a little bit. Just slowly working my way from one green to the next. Okay. He's such a happy snake. Oh, look at the happy snake. Oh, he's such a happy little boy. Okay. All right. Now, like I said, his belly is kind of a different color. But I do kind of need to, I think I kind of want to bring up this green just a little more. So I'm kind of trying to get a little of this gray in there. A little grayish green. Bring back some of those highlights just a little bit. That will work. Okay. the lowlights or the shadows. I work back in the shadows of the snake. So I'm seeing here where a couple spots where some of this lighter green kind of seeped down into the cracks right along in here. I'm just kind of trying to go back maybe and enforce that with the darker green so it reads a little better. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Sure. And I need to pick out a color for his belly. And let me see what I'm thinking here. He's certainly got kind of a snaky belly, kind of khaki colored. If I was a snake, I think it'd be like, like a khaki-ish. Not like a yellow, not like a hot yellow or anything, but just sort of an orange. But, so yeah, sorry for not having these colors picked out ahead of time, but sometimes you just, shooting on the fly here. So this is Lilith Yellow, which, yeah, it looks a little bright. It's a little too yellow, not enough orange. So what I'm going to probably do is I'll probably end up going with just something a little, yeah, so this is high key yellow, and I think that is a little closer, but maybe that and a little peanut butter too, so maybe like a combination of these two for his belly. And I'm thinking, yeah, I'm gonna build up slowly here. Or am I? Yeah, I think I am. So I think I'm gonna start with the peanut butter. And we'll see. I mean, it could work. It might work. It might not. I don't know. We'll just see. We'll go for it. And then I'm just going to give him like some little details here. Okay, so just a little dab of the peanut butter. And then next to that, next to that I'm going to put the high key yellow. Again, taking good care to shake my paints. And we'll see how that works. It may work great. It may not. I don't know. Do you know? I don't know. Okay. So just a little bit of water here on my paintbrush. And I mean, just from what I can see right now, it's shoot. I don't know what to say. Yeah. I don't know. I've seen worse paint jobs. I've seen worse color palettes on miniatures. I'm trying not to be overly critical of my work here. Because, yeah, I mean, I know I'm just getting started. I'm not obviously a famous Twitch streamer or a famous YouTuber. I'm just a guy here doing what I love. And so, you know what? I'm just take it slow and steady here, and not be too critical of my beginning work. I mean, if I wanted a full-on art critique, right, I'd probably be at the university. So I think I'm gonna do like a pink color in his mouth there. Eventually, not at the moment, but when I get around to it. Okay. Yeah, it does seem bright. I agree with you. That seems kind of bright. Yeah. But now we can go back in and just do the old back and forth. Just a little back and forth here. Yeah, again, just going off of what I see sometimes in the picture, and yeah, the zenithal highlighting to kind of give me some direction, and slowly building up those colors, little by little. Okay. All right, I think we're going to start with just a little bit of this sharp red. Maybe start to touch the mouth up a little bit here. see how this works, but maybe start with the darkest darks in the mouth. Oops, I'm working off camera here. Okay. And I might do a little bit of freehand work here. On his, he's got like maybe some he's gonna have maybe like a few patchy spots on him. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to freehand those a little bit, and I'm gonna use my Rhea Gray for that. Okay. So shake that up and see how it goes here. All right. And I'm using the official Dungeons and Dragons artwork here to kind of give me some ideas. I don't know if it's the official D&D artwork or not, but it's a picture. I'm using a picture. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of like maybe try to freestyle a few of these dots on here. I know. It's it's not looking very cohesive yet, but give it some time. Maybe it'll work. Who knows? I mean, if you don't try, you don't know. You miss 100% of the shots you never take. Yeah, I think I'm going to go back in afterwards and bring these up just a touch with that gray color. But what I did kind of want to do is give them a couple of like these like horizontal stripes up here at the top. Okay, and then I'm going to dip back into this kind of gray here. And oops, sorry. See if that helps to distinguish them, bring them up in color just a little bit, maybe delineate them. Yeah. All you can do is give it your best and, try something new. And sometimes it works, and you're happy with the results, and sometimes you don't. Sometimes it doesn't work, and, what are you going to do? Okay. All right. Now, to proceed forward, I might do just a little bit of pink inside of his little maw there. Yeah, just a little pink on the very inside and underneath, and then maybe a little white for his two furs. And then I'm going to let them dry, and I will come back with a wash. Using my Dungeons and Dragons, official Dungeons and Dragons starter brush here. I'm going to go ahead and grab a little of this pink and come back in. Some of the areas here that I can see. Switch back to this for just these Scale 75 paints are quite transparent, which is nice because you'll put down a color and you'll think, oh my gosh, it's like the end of the world, but then you'll start to see your previous color shine through just a little bit, and your heart rate will return to normal. Yeah, it's easy to think you just went a step too far. Oh no. Oh, it's the end of the world. Armageddon. Now he looks like some kind of pink Loch Ness monster mouth creature. I just you might see at the side of the road. Too much. But then it kind of, after a couple seconds, it starts to kind of chill out a little bit and resume its normal pigmentation. Anyway, yeah, I'm thinking a little more of this Peter Pan peanut butter. Right in there. Looks like I missed a few spots here under his jawline. Sometimes you gotta get in and turn these minis around and look at them from different angles and see what you're missing, because it's easy to miss spots. It really is. So I think using a wash is kind of the right thing to do here. So we'll probably come back in at some point with a wash and just kind of use it to get down into those cracks and crevices a little bit. Anywho, I'm going to use another little light glaze of the high key right here on his belly. Just a little glaze. Okay, last thing I'll do here is maybe hit him with the whites on his teeth. Which doesn't seem to be working out. Okay, so yeah, that's because it's white ink. Duh. Okay. Need to find a white. I think I'm just going to use a Vallejo ivory or bone white. Yeah. The Vallejo bone white. A little dabble, do you? Dip into it here. And okay. And I went a little too overboard. So since it's still wet, I can just kind of soak it right up with the end of the brush here. Give it a second and I'll try again. Okay. All right. So that's where we're at, and I think I'm going to, yeah, just kind of let it sit for a little while before I put the wash on. Actually, I could probably do the wash now. Question is, what am I going to use for the wash? I think on his belly, I'm going to use sepia wash, because I just love that sepia wash. Love me some sepia shade. Let's see here. So green, the complementary color for green is red, so I might honestly do a flesh wash on his skin. I'm going to probably water it down quite a bit, but the reason I'm going to do that is because when you have two complementary colors, they tend to cancel each other out, but they do so in a way that creates shadow. So again, just to kind of get the shadows on there, I'm going to probably end up using something slightly red. And I'm not sure, but I'm starting to wonder maybe if this paint could dry just a touch more in some of these places. Okay, so let's try that flesh wash. And you know what? It may screw everything up. But it's a chance I'm willing to take, so we'll see. I'm just going to use this old Dungeons and Dragons flesh wash. A little bit of Dungeons and Dragons flesh wash. That's all it needs. Just a little Dungeons and Dragons flesh wash. We'll put them on there. And this does have just a little bit of red to it, but like I said, I'm going to water it way down, so that it's hard to even tell the difference between this and the sepia wash, but we'll see here. I just need something to kind of set off those little nooks and crannies. And yeah, I don't know if that really did it or not, but I'm going to do a little more. I'm going to do a little more anyway, because I ran out. But again, I'm really diluting it. It's got just a little bit of red, but I'm putting lots of water in there, because like I said, I'm not really trying to overdo it with the wash. I just need something to kind of set off some of the texture, some of those details. To get into those recesses and say, here there be monsters, star. Yeah. You know what? I'm not hating it. I'm not really sure that it's the proper technique, but I mean, it might not be the wrong technique altogether either. So, yeah, that's kind of. Now, this mini is a mini that I got in the Castle Ravenloft box set. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll kind of look and see, because the ones that come in these box sets of the board games, the Dungeons and Dragons board games, are like reprints of minis from hundreds of years ago, back in the early times when Dungeons and Dragons was still being run on a horse and a buggy. Oh, I'm kidding. Back when Dungeons and Dragons minis were just starting with the plastic paint, the plastic printed versions of them. So these minis are part of those older minis that came out, and they had discontinued back in maybe 2010 or sometime in there, sometimes 2011. So sometimes, there's like this site that I go and look on. It's called Mini Gallery. And I can go and I can look at what they looked like when they actually printed them and painted them the first time. And that'll give me sort of an idea of where I'm going and what I'm looking at. Now, geez, look at that mold line there. I didn't even touch it. I just looked at it and I'm just like, not today, Satan. I'm just not even gonna mess with you. So yeah, don't leave mold lines on your minis. It look at that. It looks so unprofessional, especially once you put the the wash on. It just sucks right into those areas. But yeah. Okay. So anywho, that's kind of what we're looking at this point. And normally I go back in after the wash and kind of touch it up and brighten it up a little bit with some touch-up paint, but no, I'm not going to do that. The last thing I'll probably do on this mini before varnishing is just to kind of get some of these little side areas right here. Because I've been kind of noticing that I had forsaken those as I'm spinning it around and looking at it. I'm like, oh, couldn't be bothered, apparently. So I'm just going to go back and touch those. And touch them on the other side here too. Touch, touch, touch. You just gotta tap your brush in there and just get it and go. Tap, tap, tap. Cover up those little areas that you just couldn't even be bothered with the first time. Okay, so that's what I was gonna do, and then the real last thing is I need to give this guy some eyes. I need him to have some eyeballs. And yeah, he's gonna need a little something in there. And I think I'm gonna do two things. I want it to be a bright yellow, so I'm going to use this pale yellow first. And I'm going to touch it with a little dot of that Highland yellow, or high key yellow, sorry. And just sort of come in finally last with a black pen and just do a little dot just for like the final touch, and then maybe just to kind of really kick it off, if I can, maybe just a little drop of white ink to simulate something. I'm telling you now, that's going to be hard to do because, like you can see as I'm painting this, that it's just a dab, right? Like it's so small in these areas that by the time you touch it, you've used up the whole space. So it's hard to like layer colors in there. Like so many painters, just they blow me away with. See, I've already. Now he looks like little orphan Annie, right? He's like blind. Because I put too much paint in there. Now I've got to sop it all up here. Oh, the horror. The horror. Gotta get in there. And not only did I sop it up, but I sopped up the like I got rid of all that great wash that I just put down. So I gotta put down a little more wash. Give him his eyeshadow back, give him his mascara. And wait. And try again in a few. But you don't want him to have like this giant blank eyeball. But so I'm gonna try real quick. What I am gonna try, I'm gonna get my smallest brush here that I can find. Find is the key descriptor. There we go. Oh yeah. Oh, this is my Raphael Kowinski from France. It's so nice and so small. I'm just gonna use the fatty little part of my hand right here. This little part. I'm gonna get a little point on it. Like I said, I'm gonna come in with that high key yellow. And just try to kind of set that off just a little bit more. Again, really difficult to layer more than one color on these at times like these. Okay. And you know what? I'm gonna brave it. I'm gonna try this one more time, ever so delicately, to not screw it up. It's just not quite enough, you know. It's like I didn't make it run, but at the same time it's like I didn't quite get the job done either. Okay, so yeah. That's about all I'm gonna try with that. I will take just a little dab of this high key yellow. like I said, the last thing that I would probably do on this mini is to use my I use one of these Micron pens. It's my secret weapon. Because what you can do with these is you can just make the tiniest little dot, right? And yeah, and that's kind of what we're looking for here in this situation. And I'm hoping this is dry, and I feel like it could be. Okay, so here it goes. Just a little dot. And when I do this, my technique here is to put one hand here on, like rest it up against something. So right here, I'm resting it up against my countertop. I'm resting both arms against the countertop, and I'm using 2 points of contact between my hands. So I've got these two thumbs together, and I'm resting it on, I've got like all of this touching right now. And it just helps me to feel confident because I need to come in at a pretty straight angle. And yeah, that's really about all that I need. Just enough, right? So, yeah. I don't think this side's ready yet. I don't think it's dry. I think if I put my pen in there, it's going to get yellow ink on it and not black ink on the eye. Yellow paint on the pen and not black ink on the eye is what I'm thinking is going to happen if I try. Seems dry, actually. Oh no. Okay, we're going to go for it here. We're just going to do it. Okay. All right. And with that, yeah, I feel like I'm ready to just kind of varnish it and call it a day. Yeah. There it is. There's 4 of these in the Curse of Strahd campaign that I'm going to be running that attack the party members. So, yeah. 1 of 4. Limited edition. Okay. So that's what we're looking at. And with that, I think I'm going to call it a day here. I could come back and I guess I could do a couple more of them in a little bit. I've got, again, 4 altogether that I have to do, and I have another 2 of them right here. But yeah, that's okay. It's all right. Okay, well, I hope you have a wonderful day, everybody. Thank you if you tuned in. If you didn't, oh well, you missed out. And I'll be back at some point in the future to do some more miniature painting.